Let me ask you something brutal. Have you ever noticed that the nicest people you know are usually broke? I'm not talking about the people who smile at strangers or hold doors open. I'm talking about the genuinely good-hearted people who always put others first, who never ask for more than they deserve, who play by the rules while everyone else is cutting corners. They work harder than anyone. They're loyal, honest, dependable, and they're poor. Meanwhile, the guy who lied on his resume, he's your boss now. The woman who stepped on her colleagues to get ahead, she just bought her third rental property. The entrepreneur who cut ethical corners, he's posting from his yacht. This isn't a coincidence, and it's not about karma, luck, or waiting for your turn. There's a dark psychology at play here that nobody wants to talk about. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why being nice is the financial kiss of death, and what you need to do about it. Here's the uncomfortable truth they don't teach you in school, at church, or in those feel-good self-help books. The game of wealth has rules, but the rules you've been taught, they're not the real rules. You've been told that hard work pays off, that honesty is the best policy, that if you just keep your head down, do good work, and be a decent human being, success will find you. That's a lie. Not a well-intentioned mistake, an actual lie designed to keep you exactly where you are. See, while you were being taught to treat others how you want to be treated, rich people were teaching their kids something completely different. They were teaching them about leverage, negotiation, strategic relationships, and the art of appearing agreeable while ruthlessly pursuing their interests. I'm not here to tell you to become a terrible person. I'm here to show you the psychological mechanisms that keep nice people trapped in financial mediocrity and how understanding these mechanisms can completely transform your relationship with money. Because here's the thing. You can be a good person and still get rich, but you can't be a naive person and expect the world to reward you for it. Let's dive into the dark psychology of wealth that nobody wants you to understand. There's a psychological phenomenon that researchers call agreeableness. On the surface, it sounds like a positive trait. Agreeable people are cooperative, compassionate, and conflict-averse. But here's what the studies actually show. High agreeableness is negatively correlated with income. That means the nicer you are, statistically, the less money you make. Why? Because niceness, in economic terms, is a negotiation weakness. Think about the last time you negotiated your salary. Did you ask for what you're actually worth, or did you accept the first offer because you didn't want to seem greedy or difficult? When your boss asked you to take on extra work, did you negotiate for extra pay, or did you just say yes because you wanted to be helpful? When a client tried to haggle down your prices, did you hold firm, or did you give them a one-time discount because you didn't want to lose the relationship? Every single time you chose to be nice instead of strategic, you left money on the table. And it adds up. Over a career, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost earnings. For some people, millions. From childhood, you've been conditioned to equate niceness with goodness and assertiveness with selfishness. Remember when you were a kid and you asked for something you wanted? If you were direct about it, you were called demanding or selfish. But if you waited patiently and didn't make a fuss, you were good. That programming runs deep. So now, as an adult, when it's time to negotiate, to advocate for yourself, to set boundaries, to charge what you're worth, that childhood voice kicks in. Don't be greedy. Don't be difficult. Don't rock the boat. And you sabotage yourself. Meanwhile, the person across the table from you, though, they don't have that programming, or they've overcome it. They're comfortable asking for more, pushing boundaries, and negotiating aggressively. Guess who wins? Here's another brutal truth. The marketplace doesn't care about fair. You think you deserve a raise because you worked hard. The market doesn't care. You think your product should sell because it's high quality. The market doesn't care. You think people should pay you what you're worth because you're honest and reliable. The market doesn't care. The market rewards whoever can create and capture the most value, period. And nice people, they're great at creating value. They just suck at capturing it. They create value for their employers, but don't negotiate equity or profit sharing. They create value for their clients, but undercharge. They create value in their communities, but never monetize it. They're playing a completely different game than rich people, and then they wonder why they're losing. Now, before I show you the exact psychological shifts that rich people make, I need to address something. Some of you are thinking, so I just need to become a jerk? I need to screw people over to get ahead? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm about to show you is how to maintain your integrity while stopping the financial self-sabotage. How to be a good person without being a doormat. How to play the actual game instead of the fake one you were taught. Because here's what most people don't understand. Rich people aren't successful because they're mean. They're successful because they understand power dynamics that you don't. Let me break it down. Nice people give freely, expecting that generosity creates goodwill that will somehow come back to them. Rich people understand that every act of giving is a transaction that creates social debt. When a rich person does you a favor, it's not random kindness, it's strategic. They're creating an obligation, they're building leverage, and when they need something from you, they'll cash in that chip. Think about it. When someone gives you something valuable, you feel obligated to return the favor, right? That's the reciprocity principle, and it's one of the most powerful tools in psychology. Nice people trigger this mechanism accidentally and then never collect. They do favors, help people out, go the extra mile, and then feel guilty about asking for anything in return. Rich people do favors strategically and collect strategically. They help the right people at the right time in ways that create maximum obligation. And when they need something, they have no guilt about calling it in. This isn't manipulation. This is understanding how human psychology actually works and using it intentionally instead of randomly. Nice people make themselves available. They respond immediately to emails. They say yes to every meeting. They're always there when someone needs them. This destroys their value. Rich people understand scarcity. They know that the harder something is to get, the more people want it. That's why luxury brands limit supply, why exclusive clubs have waiting lists, why top consultants are booked out months in advance. When you're always available, you're signaling low value. You're saying, I don't have anything better to do than respond to you immediately. When you're selective with your time and access, you're signaling high value. You're saying, my time is valuable, and if you want it, you need to respect that. This applies to everything: your time, your skills, your attention, your products, your services. Nice people give these things away freely. Rich people make them scarce. Here's a hard pill to swallow. The best product doesn't always win. The hardest worker doesn't always get promoted. The most qualified candidate doesn't always get the job. Why? Because human beings make decisions based on perception, not objective reality. Nice people focus on being good. Rich people focus on being perceived as good. They understand branding, positioning, and social proof. They know how to control the narrative. They invest in looking successful because looking successful attracts success. Meanwhile, nice people are heads down doing great work, assuming people will notice. They don't. You know why? Because nobody's paying attention. Everyone's too busy with their own lives. If you want people to value you, you have to actively manage how you're perceived. You have to tell your story. You have to promote yourself. You have to make sure people know what you bring to the table. Nice people think this is bragging. Rich people know it's just marketing. Nice people are conflict averse. They'd rather take a loss than have an uncomfortable conversation. Rich people understand that conflict is how value gets redistributed. Every negotiation is a conflict. Every boundary you set creates conflict. Every time you charge what you're worth, someone's going to push back. If you can't handle that conflict, you can't capture value. Rich people get comfortable with conflict. They don't take it personally. They don't see disagreement as a relationship ender. They see it as a normal part of business. They'll push back on unreasonable requests. They'll negotiate aggressively. They'll walk away from bad deals. Nice people do none of these things. They agree to unfavorable terms to keep the peace. They accept lowball offers to maintain the relationship. They let people take advantage of them because confrontation feels icky. And then they wonder why they're broke. This is the big one. Nice people follow the rules, all of them, even the ones that don't make sense, even the ones that disadvantage them. Rich people understand that rules are just suggestions from people who had power when the rules were made. I'm not talking about laws, I'm talking about social rules, corporate rules, industry standards, the way things are done. Rich people question everything, they negotiate everything, they find loopholes, exceptions, and alternatives. When they're told, that's just our policy, they ask to speak to someone who can make exceptions. When they're told, that's the standard rate, they negotiate for better terms. When they're told, that's impossible, they find someone who can make it possible. Nice people hear no and give up. Rich people hear no and start negotiating. The entire game changes when you understand that almost everything is negotiable if you're willing to push. Here's the truth. You don't need to become ruthless, dishonest, or manipulative to get rich. You just need to stop volunteering for poverty. Let me give you specific, actionable shifts you can make right now. Calculate your hourly rate based on what you want to make annually. Now, stop doing anything that's worth less than that rate unless you absolutely have to. Stop saying yes to every request for your time. Start saying, let me check my calendar and get back to you. Create scarcity around your availability. When someone asks you to do something, ask yourself, is this the best use of my time or am I just being nice? Your salary, your freelance rates, your bills, your contracts, everything. Here's a simple script. I appreciate the offer, but I was hoping for higher amount. Is there any flexibility there? That's it. You'll be shocked how often the answer is yes. Most nice people never even ask, they just accept whatever's offered. Stop doing that. Start documenting your wins. Keep a brag file of accomplishments, testimonials, and results you've created. When it's time for a review, promotion, or new opportunity, use this file to make your case. This isn't arrogance, this is making sure you get credit for the value you create. Rich people understand that if you don't tell your story, someone else will, and it won't be the story you want told. Decide what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not, then communicate those boundaries clearly and enforce them consistently. I don't work weekends. My rate is X dollars and that's not negotiable. I need payment up front before starting the project. Nice people are terrified of setting boundaries because they think it'll damage relationships. But here's what actually happens. People respect you more, they take you seriously, and the relationships that can't handle your boundaries, those weren't good relationships anyway. Stop networking randomly. Start building relationships with specific, high-value people who can actually help you reach your goals. And when you do favors for people, do them strategically. Help people who are in a position to help you back. This isn't being fake. This is being intentional about where you invest your limited time and energy. Rich people have always known this. It's why they join exclusive clubs, go to certain events, and cultivate relationships with specific people. If you're feeling uncomfortable right now, good. That discomfort is your old programming fighting back. It's that childhood voice telling you that asking for more is greedy, that promoting yourself is arrogant, that setting boundaries is selfish. That voice has kept you poor. The truth is, the world is full of people who are perfectly comfortable taking advantage of your niceness. They're happy to underpay you, overwork you, and extract maximum value while giving you minimum compensation. And they sleep just fine at night. The question is, are you going to keep playing by rules that only you are following? Here's what most people don't understand about the wealth gap. It's not primarily about access to capital, education, or opportunities. It's about psychology. Rich people think differently about value, negotiation, relationships, and money itself. They don't have moral superiority, they don't work harder, they're not smarter. They just understand the game better. And the game is this. In a capitalist system, money flows to whoever can capture the most value, not to whoever creates the most value. Nice people create tons of value and capture almost none of it. Rich people have figured out how to capture it. Let me be crystal clear about something. I'm not advocating for lying, cheating, or screwing people over. You can be honest and strategic. You can have integrity and negotiate aggressively. You can be a good person and still get rich. But you can't be naive and expect to win. The marketplace is neutral. It doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards results and the ability to capture value. Once you accept that, you can operate within your ethical framework while still being effective. You don't have to compromise your values. You just have to stop compromising your financial future in the name of being nice. So, here we are. You now understand why nice people stay poor. You understand the psychological mechanisms at play. You understand what rich people know that you didn't. Now, you have a choice. You can go back to playing the game the old way, being nice, following the rules, hoping that if you just work hard enough and are good enough, somehow the universe will reward you. Or you can start playing the actual game. You can start negotiating, setting boundaries, valuing your time, promoting yourself, building strategic relationships, capturing the value you create instead of giving it all away. This doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you a strategic person. And strategic people with good values, they don't just get rich, they change the world. Because when good people have resources, they do good things with them. They create jobs, they support causes, they help their communities, they take care of their families. But you can't do any of that when you're broke. The dark truth about wealth isn't that you have to be a bad person to get it. The dark truth is that the system is designed to extract maximum value from nice people while compensating them minimally for it. And the only way to break out of that system is to understand it and consciously choose to operate differently. Stop playing fair in a game where nobody else is playing fair. Stop volunteering for poverty in the name of being agreeable. Stop letting people take advantage of your good nature. You can be kind and ruthless, ethical and strategic, compassionate and wealthy. But you have to stop confusing niceness with weakness. Stop confusing assertiveness with cruelty. The choice is yours. What are you going to do? If this video changed how you think about money and success, do me a favor. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message, someone who's too nice for their own good, someone who deserves better than what they're getting. And if you're ready to completely transform your relationship with money, psychology, and power, subscribe to this channel, because we're just getting started. The game is rigged, but once you know the rules, you can win it. See you in the next one.